happened that allowed you to get full custody of your child after divorce? My 7-year-old son Graham had just come home from spending the weekend at his dad's house, and when I asked him what they did, he said he drove to the movies. I laughed as I corrected him, saying, "You mean your dad drove you to the movies?" before asking him what movie they saw. But then again, he said, "I watched Flo and drove back to dad." He'd never misspoke like that before, but I brushed it off, thinking it was regular 9-year-old behavior. But something in the back of my head made me think otherwise. Even when his dad and I were together, he was careless about Graham, so who knew how he was watching him when he was alone with him? Well, then later that evening, while I was in the shower, Graham asked me to have ice cream for dessert. I told him we were out, but would drive to the store down the road once I was done. So once I finished up and called for him, there was no response. I searched the entire house for him, but he was nowhere to be found, and I frantically ran outside yelling his name while my heart nearly beat out of my chest. That's when I noticed my car was not parked in its usual spot, and I panicked as I ran down the street. But before I knew it, I saw my car speeding towards my direction, and I dove into a bush to avoid it. Once the car came to a stop, Graham peeked his head out the window yelling, "Sorry, Mom, your seat is way lower than Dad's. I can't see that well." I couldn't believe my eyes, and I ran to Graham, hugging him and thanking God that he was okay before pulling Graham inside and saying we needed to talk. That's when he spilled and told me the truth about his father. Apparently his father has secretly been teaching him to drive every weekend. I damn near lost my mind, so I immediately called his dad, and sure enough he said, "Oh, it's the right of way for boys his age. We did a couple laps in the parking lot a few weeks ago and he was great. Stop freaking out the way y'all women love to." I marveled at the nerve, and to make matters worse after I hung up, Graham even said his dad urged him to drive alone so he could spend more time with his new girlfriend. That night I called my lawyer, and within a week, Graham's dad had lost his weekend privileges.